Hello, everyone. Welcome to another MHT Conversation. Mental Health Today is a website where we are trying to connect all Indian mental health professionals to one platform where they can directly connect with their audience, share helpful resources in the form of blogs, podcasts, webinars, and you can also find other self help resources such as self help books, apps, online courses, and products. Today we are having Ms. Zahra Diwan in our conversation, and I'll briefly introduce her to all of you. Ms. Zahra Diwan is a mental health practitioner who has been working with children and adolescents and mental health related disorders related to this population specifically. Talk about the topic that we are discussing today. Today we are going to be talking about the transitions that happen in our mental health from adolescence to adulthood. So I'm glad, Zara, you're here to speak upon it because, during puberty, it's such a pivotal time for a lot of us because there are so many changes happening physically, and I'm pretty sure there are also changes happening psychologically and emotionally. So, can you describe what are those emotional and psychological changes that take place when that puberty phase kicks in?
Yes, sure. So first, let's understand the stage of adolescence,
Right.
right? A lot of things are going on. Like it starts from biological, which is puberty, and it ends with social changes, like taking on new responsibilities. So there are changes in biology, social changes, and behavioral changes.
Right.
Also, um, adolescents are still maturing and developing, right? We see from a neuroscience perspective. Also, I would like to mention that adolescence, yes, legally, I think it starts at 13 and ends at 18, but uh, some children are very mature earlier, whereas some at 15 are still childlike. And suddenly, when you turn 18, it's not like adolescence as a stage stops.
Right.
You might still need be dependent upon your caregivers for things, right?
Right.
So now let me highlight all of the things that are going on in this stage. Um, Starting with forming one's own identity.
Right.
Like it's a stage which is um, the person feels a sense of power because making decisions that they have never made before, making important decisions that will potentially impact their future, like career related decisions or
Right.
decisions whether to choose a particular stream. So those kinds of things. Also, it's a stage of feeling vulnerable also because you're not completely um, aware of what is going on. You're still in between and still figuring things out for yourself.
Right.
So feeling vulnerable because you're making important decisions for the first time in your life,
Right.
right? Also, it is a stage where the person of autonomy,
Right.
um, the person, yes. So it is a stage of autonomy where the person demands their own space.
Mm-hmm.
So family relations shift in this stage. The family redefines their roles. Like the parents say, okay, our child does not need us so much for everything. Might need assistance somewhere, but doesn't need to be monitored all the time.
True.
Um, or the adolescents may demand more independence and independent uh, in activities that they can perform
Mm.
independently. Also, it's a stage where they develop their moral sense because They
Right.
realize that they have opinions and those opinions are heard and matter. So they can have opinions about important things like religion or stuff, conduct or stuff like that. Um, Also, pure relationships,
Yeah.
uh, is incredibly important
Yeah.
at this stage, because like I had read a research where they say that adolescents are more fearful of social anxiety is the
Right.
highest in them. Also, they fear failure a lot. So you can see that pure relationships matter so much, whereas
Yeah.
young children fear separating from their parents, and adolescents fear being rejected by their peers.
Right. Right. I think so.
Also,
That's
I would like to,
yeah. Yeah. Sure.
yeah, I would like to add that it's also a stage where they're developing intimate relationships with
Hmm.
others, or they're discovering their sexual identity and
Yeah.
orientation, which means some individuals may find that they belong to a less common sexual identity, that they are homosexual, or some adolescents, because adolescence is a stage where people develop secondary sexual characters. So
Right.
if some individuals where their gender does not match the body, that might become even more distressing at
Right.
this period time.
Right. I think so. That's very nicely put by you. Those changes that happen from childhood to adolescence. You know how the psychological part plays in development. So, apart from these changes, I'm pretty sure adults, people, individuals at that age are struggling with all these changes. But apart from that, there are certain triggers also from the society. I mean, they, for the first time, I think so, when somebody is facing peer pressure, is the first time that is exposed to them is during adolescence itself. And likewise, there's also something, body image becomes an issue during that age itself. I mean, it is again first triggered during that age. And then a lot of research also talks about substance abuse, like teenagers are greatly exposed to substance abuse. So what do you think, what are your viewpoints on it? Because again, these issues are a very big part of anybody's mental health. So how do you think they affect an individual during their adolescence?
Yeah, I completely agree. Peer pressure is very important to talk about at this stage. And first, um, I want I want our audience to understand that why peer pressure and peer relationships are so important.
Yeah.
They're highly motivating for an adolescent's behavior. Why are they highly motivating? Because out of peer relationships, an adolescent gets a sense of belongingness,
Right.
a sense of resonance with another person that is outside their immediate circle, which is their family,
Family.
a sense to develop a new identity outside of their family. So it is highly rewarding and highly motivating. And that is where peer pressure comes in. That, this relationship is so motivating and rewarding to me. I need to conform to certain things
Right.
to be a part of this relationship, or to make this relationship with their peers stronger.
Right.
Okay. Um, in regards to having like substance abuse, yes, I agree. Substance abuse, compared to childhood, of course there's an increase in substance abuse because adolescents are socializing outside their house. And for that, I believe that schools should have training programs about how to say no when you're offered an alcoholic drink or
Right.
drugs. How to be assertive but yet not offensive. So you're still part of that group because
Hmm.
that relationship is important, but you're defining your boundaries. That, I stand by that. I do not want an alcoholic drink, or I do not want to do drugs. So that that training and
Yeah.
that saying no and setting your boundaries is very important to be taught at this stage.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope, schools take this into account, because I think so a lot of schools are now starting to take all these considerations into mind, and they have, some of the schools are having their mental health programs also going on. But yeah, I think so it's definitely needed during that age. Individuals are so vulnerable. Then if we move forward regarding the transition phase that happens during adolescence to adulthood, there's another factor which you pointed out earlier, about the socialization, the social life. Again, from the family circle, an individual is entering into the world on its own. So there is definitely some changes happening in their social life. How does one take that into account, adapt to that lifestyle, and make it better for themselves?
Yeah, I completely agree. Socialization is very important. And it is important to us as human beings. Like,
Right.
innately, we have the ability to socialize with other people. It is important for our survival. When you look at our ancestors, that with
Right.
socialization, we were able to survive. Um, I think socialization uh, is very important for later on success also, like work success,
Right.
or having a close knit or a close group of friends is very important for your mental and physical health.
Right.
So having that socialization, that connect, is very important. And parents play a huge role. Parents, caregivers, guardians play a huge
Mhm.
role in this, because it's the parents that encourage a child to go out, socialize, from little children to go to play dates or go to birthday parties,
Right.
um, to adolescents. I think maintaining that kind of social relationship with their friends, allowing them to kind of explore with their friends,
Right.
and that kind of socialization that they have in childhood is carries on to uh, adulthood. And a lot of parents are very worried in adolescence to let their children go out
Right.
with their friends, thinking that they will indulge in risk-taking behaviors such as alcohol intake,
Yeah.
or drugs, or even risky sexual behaviors. So I think for that, and parents and adolescents both need an open conversation, uh, that parents need to explain them that why that they do not endorse these behaviors, and
Right.
also have boundaries. So you can go out with your friends, you can have a fun time, but I do not endorse you drinking alcohol, or I do not endorse you taking drugs, because there are serious consequences about
Yeah.
acting this out. So unless your child is not entailing in risk-taking behaviors, I find parents should encourage them, especially to socialize, to go out, to experience life with their friends.
Yeah. I think so. It is very important today's day and life to have that social circle, and to be actively socialized in the society. And we can see this in the current population. A lot of adults find themselves isolated. They're feeling lonely. So now if we move towards adulthood, I mean, you know, what would you say regarding making friendship in adulthood? Because I can understand that, during adolescence, somebody might not have that a social a lifestyle, or maybe did have, but in adulthood, it's not so much the same because, everybody says that, friends, it's difficult to make friends after an age, and so many things that people say around those lines. So, but I think so, it's very important to have friendship even in that age. uh, it's definitely good for the mental well-being, and who likes to be lonely, who likes to be isolated. So what do you think can help in terms of developing good friendship during adulthood?
Yeah, I think you pointed out a very important factor that a lot of people say that in adulthood that it is very difficult to make friends and
Right.
it is very difficult to maintain uh, relationships and friendships that they have had previously.
Right.
So it involves like establishing friendship with your childhood friends that you've made prior, um, also reconnecting with childhood friends that you have not connected in a long while, and
Yeah.
making new friends. That friendship involves basic social skills of communication, of sharing your interest, of being curious about the other person's interest and developing new interests, so
Right.
that you can relate to the other person.
Right.
And it is it is very important because like friendship has a huge role to play in one's mental and physical health. Like one research pointed out that those who have closer relationships in adolescence in fact develop good self-worth and lesser anxiety and depression when they're young adults. So it is that kind of important.
I'm glad you
And
shared
having
that.
active, yeah, and having active friendships that you can, uh, people that you can count on, and
Hmm.
people that you can care for you and care for. So that is greatly important. A lot of people nowadays are engaging in online friendship, which is a
Right.
great way to begin having conversations and begin making friends, especially when you have social social anxiety.
Right.
But you should try to translate those friendships into active friendships where supposing I need a friend because I'm in an emergency, I need a friend, I'm ill, and I need a friend to come over. An
Right.
online uh, friendship might not work in that
Right.
case of scenario.
Absolutely.
So it's important to socialize with people um, near you also, like at your create friendships at your workplace, create friendships and reconnect with past friends that you have created in school and college. So yeah.
Right. Wow, that is, I'm glad you shared the value of friendship and how it actually boosts our self-worth and, develops a healthy lifestyle in terms of mental as well as physical well-being. I'm very happy that you shared that. One last note that I want to take forward is that what are your advice in terms of coping strategies for this age population, for people who are uh, in the adulthood or in that process of entering adulthood or have just entered adolescence? What do you think are some coping strategies that can help them take care of themselves better?
Okay. Coping strategies, especially right now during this pandemic, I think for everybody, whether it is a child, an adolescent, or an adult, a sense of purpose
Right.
helps. So For children, it could be like helping the parent do dishes,
Mm,
or like setting up the dinner table. Or for adolescents, it can be greater responsibility, along with managing their own schedules, helping in housework, helping in banking work, joining youth forums. Right now, a lot of school children are doing great work for them, and creating Facebook posts and donations about migrant workers or
right,
other vulnerable populations. So having that sense of purpose gives everybody um, direction
right.
direction, and it gives them a sense of achievement. It increases their self-worth. um,
Absolutely.
Also, knowing that it is okay to feel anxious and uncertain, because we are living in uncertain times.
Yeah,
So knowing that it is okay, like I will get anxious sometimes because life is right now uncertain, and telling your children and adolescents that, also adjusting to the new normal, which is having online classes, having online education, um, and having a structure and a schedule is what I find helps most people. So having structure for productive work, that could be education related, homework, and having enough leisure time, also having time to play video games
right,
or exercise. Exercise, that is also important. So that are some of the ways that people can adjust to the current and cope with the current situation.
right. Wonderful. I think so. These coping strategies are beneficial for everybody at any age. And I'm glad you shared these. Definitely, I hope, the people who have been listening to this video, they find this helpful. They found this, that they understand now that, this is definitely a difficult period. There are definitely so many transitions happening. And there will be, personal issues that one must be going through. Apart from that, there is definitely physical and psychologically, there are so many changes happening. So if somebody needs some personal help, Ms. Zahra Diwan is also available on MSG directly. You can directly contact them through the link provided in the video. And thank you so much, Zara, for sharing your thoughts on this and explaining it to us how important this transition is and how one can accommodate uh, in a healthy way to these changes.
Thank you so much for having me. I think it's a great job MHT is doing, spreading awareness about mental health.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to this video. I hope you find it helpful. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the MHT channel. And thank you so much, Zara. Thank you for having us.